What's up, everyone? Matthew Diolis here. Let's talk movies. In your opinion, what is the best movie ending of all time? Well, in my opinion, here's 10 movies that have great endings. Let me just say spoilers throughout. I'm talking about the endings to 10 great movies here, whether they're new, whether they're old. I'm going to be spoiling a lot here, so you've been warned. I'm going to put a list of the movies I mentioned below. If you don't want to see the ending spoiled to any of those movies, don't watch this video. Wow 'em in the end. Let me tell you a secret. The last act makes a film. Wow 'em in the end. You can have flaws, problems, but wow 'em in the end, and you got a hit. The awesome words of advice from Brian Cox in Adaptation. Of course, Adaptation completely sums up wowing them in the end. Some dude gets attacked by a crocodile, there's a love affair, twin brother gets shot, written by Charlie Kaufman, directed by Spike Jonze. Adaptation has a wild ending.
And why the fuck are you wasting my 2 precious hours with your movie? I don't have any use for it. I don't have any bloody use for it.
Okay, thanks.
One of the best endings ever, Planet of the Apes. Planet of the Apes. That is one of the best twists and best endings ever. It's a shame now that it's so well known, and even the ending to the movie is on the DVD cover. But yeah, they're on some strange planet inhabited by apes, and it turns out they're on the planet Earth all along. A world destroyed by nuclear war.
Damn you! Damn you all to hell!
Who is Kaiser Sose? The usual suspects. The cripple with a limp ends up being Kaiser Sose at the end. One of my favorite actors and one of my favorite directors, Clint Eastwood's Unforgiven. Clint Eastwood keeps talking about his past and how he was a murdering bastard. He would drink and murder and murder and drink. There's a few subtle scenes where he's offered alcohol and he turns it down. Morgan Freeman says, "Here you go, Will, have a drink." He's like, "Nah." He's like, "Come on, Will, it's raining." And he doesn't drink anymore. He's at the bar and there's a shot glass on the table and Clint Eastwood's sick and he slowly pushes the shot glass away. One of my favorite scenes of all time, once they realized that Gene Hackman and his crew killed Morgan Freeman, and they put a sign on him. They put a sign on him.
They got a sign on him.
And just that moment when Clint Eastwood leans over, grabs the bottle out of the kid's hand, and just starts chugging it. It's just, as you know, he's going back to his murdering ways. It's one of the best scenes ever. He transforms back into the murdering bastard that he was in the past. I don't need this to die like this. I was building a house. Okay, up next, one of my favorite new young directors, Damien Chazelle. We're doing 2 here. Whiplash, the bumpy, abusive relationship between student and teacher, the definition of wowing you in the end. And the director's next movie, La La Land. The whole dance number, and they just show a flashback of everything that has occurred in the movie. So Damien Chazelle, his first 2 movies, he was 2 for 2. He has 2 of the greatest endings of all time. Whiplash and La La Land. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Rick Dalton, Cliff Booth, and the Manson family. I absolutely loved this ending, and surprisingly, I didn't see it coming. You would think, being a huge fan of Tarantino and Inglourious Basterds in particular, when this ending happened, it completely took me by surprise. Cliff Booth was such a great character, and everyone knows the story of the Manson family. So when the Manson family confronted Cliff Booth, I was almost on the edge of my seat like, I don't want to see him die. Cliff's gonna die. And then when the dog started biting his balls and when Cliff Booth started violently murdering everyone, I was like, what is going on here? And the flamethrower, and it's just the greatest ending ever. That movie would be fantastic anyway, even if that ending didn't exist. It didn't need it, but that ending was just the cherry on the cake. Loved it. I grew up with some of the greatest villains of all time. Belloc from Raiders of the Lost Ark. Hans Gruber in Die Hard. Mr. Joshua, Lethal Weapon. Darth Vader, the Emperor. Angel Eyes in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. One thing they all have in common is they all were defeated by the good guy at the end of the movie. except Thanos. Avengers Infinity War. The bad guy wins. Thanos defeats the Avengers, murders half of them and half of the population. He sits on his farm, looks off into the sunset, the victor. The movie cuts to credits. Thanos wins. I've said this before, but it is The Empire Strikes Back for this generation. And speaking of Darth Vader and Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back. It's a great cliffhanger ending where all the heroes are defeated. Han Solo is frozen in carbonite, might be dead. It's all hope is drained from the galaxy. The villain that they are fighting is the hero's father. I mean, there's so much Star Wars going on today, and I'm a big Star Wars fan, and I'm loving all this stuff. The Clone Wars cartoon is great, the Bad Batch, the Mandalorian, the Boba Fett show. But it started way back with Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. And The Empire Strikes Back, still one of my favorite movies of all time, and mainly because of the way it ended. This list is tough. It's hard to pick my favorite movie ending of all time because, I don't know, there's so many good ones. It's like choosing your favorite food. How do you choose? There's so many great endings out there. Maybe the most heartfelt, the most satisfying ending, it almost brings a tear to your eyes. Even thinking about it right now, honestly, I'm kind of getting choked up a little bit. The Shawshank Redemption. The way that Andy Dufresne kind of redeems himself, escapes from prison, exposes the corruptness of the jail and the warden. And Morgan Freeman getting out of jail, he doesn't take the same path as Brooks and hangs himself. He decides to venture out and find his friend Andy. Just Red walking down the beach, a free man, and seeing his buddy Andy Dufresne working on that boat, and then the camera just fades away, and such a great ending, man. I mean, that movie truly is one of the greatest movies of all time. It's maybe the most satisfying ending ever. Okay, that's my list of my top 10 favorite movie endings of all time. What are some of yours? What did I miss? Tell me below. Thanks for watching, movie lovers. I'll see you next time.